Welcome to Witchy Business, hosted by me, Emily.
And me, Anna. This is your weekly dose of friendly business chat with a witchy flair.
Through these personal and vulnerable conversations, we share our business journey with you,
highlighting the links to our overall growth journey in the hopes to make you feel more supported as you share your magic.
This episode is sponsored by Plan Her, a timeless and undated planner and journal created to help witches stay organised while in flow.
We especially love the pages for new moon manifestations and full moon reflections.
For additional support on how to harness the energy of the moon while working on your business,
subscribe to our Substack, your link in our show notes. Exciting news, we are hosting our first online workshop. We wanted to create a moment for you to prepare for spring and the astrological new year in communion with your business. And we figured that many of you, us included, would probably be joining circles and events already on Saturday, the 18th of March, as the first day of spring is the 21st of March. So we decided to organize our Witchy Business workshop on Saturday, the 11th of March. So you can have a special moment to be with your business and still be able to celebrate spring the following weekend. We'll host it online so all of you can attend, and also because we both live in separate countries. And it will be from 9 a.m. till 12 UK time, which is 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Europe time on Saturday, the 11th of March of this year. So come join us in ceremony online to release old ways of working and set new intentions to have your most magical year in business yet.
There will be dancing, breathwork, and visualizations to ensure all your creations come from an authentic, embodied space. During the workshop, we will hold space for you to be welcomed with a meditation, connect to your business entity, release what no longer serves your business, set new intentions for the season and year ahead. We'll ask everyone to show up on camera to make it feel like a real circle as much as possible. So come as you are. All of you is fully welcome in our spaces. Come and share, and we'll hold the space and only give advice and coaching if asked for. Bring a journal and some colourful pencils and pens or markers or whatever you need to express yourself fully. Set up your space with a candle, get comfy with some cushions, make it all cozy so you can feel fully supported and be ready to dance.
You'll find the link to book in our show notes. And if you have any questions in the meantime, feel free to DM us on Instagram at WeAreWitchyBusiness. So excited to see you there. Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of Witchy Business. This week is more of a just chat update of what's coming up between Em and I, and what we've been really observing in the past few weeks, if not months, is the call for bigger, is bigger the right word? Deeper integrity, and how that links into self-responsibility and vulnerability. So I guess they're the three T's that we're speaking to today. Not entirely sure where to start with this. It's like so big, I don't know where to.
I guess like maybe I just quickly double checked the dictionary definition of integrity, because I feel like that's probably quite a good place to start. So integrity is the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles, and also the state of being whole and undivided.
That really landed. Thank you for sharing that. Especially the being whole and undivided.
Yeah.
Because I really feel like being in integrity is, you can't be in integrity unless you're fully authentic.
Yeah.
And it's that like deep core true self when you're acting from integrity.
Which you can't have without being vulnerable, because showing your wholeness is vulnerable in the kind of with the social pressures, the society that we live in.
In the words of Brene Brown, the queen of vulnerability, you're like truly in the arena, you know, you're not just staring at the spectacle, you're really there. You're showing up fully. And I feel like to be able, because the only truth that we can truly share is our own and what's moving through us. Personally, working and being from integrity is really, really important for me. It's one of my core values, that I want everything that I do to come from that true, deep, integral space, whole space. And what I always come back to is that you can't do that unless you fully take responsibility for yourself, for your humanness, for your failings, but also, and like mainly for me, for my needs. To take that full responsibility of realizing what it is that you truly need, and then giving yourself the means to give it to yourself, not just by like stating it to someone and expecting someone else to fill your needs, you know, but really finding ways to gift that to yourself. And assessing, no, that's not the right word. Figuring out what your true need is actually not as straightforward as we think. And I feel like a lot of the time we think that we're going after what we need, and then we get it, and then it doesn't really fill anything. And as my mentor always tells us, you can never have enough of what you never really wanted. And so it's going after and bringing in what it is that you really want and really need. So yeah, it's a big one.
Yeah. It's really, really big.
Yeah. So we're just gonna leave you with this.
Yeah.
I'm joking, but it just feels like such a big conversation. And we've had these topics, integrity and vulnerability, on our list of like things we want to speak to for a long time. And it's just how, like, where do you start and what do we talk about is really, because, and I speak for myself, but I know this is also true for you. It's like, we want to do those topics justice. And obviously in an hour or however long this episode goes for, we're not going to cover it all.
Yeah. I think I recently have felt the need to just revisit my values. And yeah, I guess just going off what you're saying as well, it's to be whole and to be authentic. That really means to be in alignment with who you are, to be aligned with your values, to be aligned to know what you need, to know, to be honest with yourself. And yeah, I mean, the whole reason why we started, or one of the main reasons why we started this podcast, was to be really honest, to act with integrity, to be authentic, to be vulnerable. And yeah, it's uncomfortable being vulnerable. That's why it takes courage. So yeah, there's like a lot moving through both of us. And yeah, let us know if you're listening to this and also resonate with just feeling, yeah, I guess like the best way to describe how I've been feeling last week, and like, you know, just for a little while, is just like foggy, like unclear. And that's, I think, when I personally felt the need to then just revisit my values, because when you're foggy, and it's kind of the same with like hustle culture, right? When you're just hustling, you're moving really fast, you actually can't connect with who you are. So it's only in the slowness and the stillness that we can really connect with ourselves, so that we can act from a place of integrity and authenticity. And I think it's a really good idea to revisit your values and what you really stand for, so that you can make sure that you're making decisions and you're showing up and really, what is it? Walk your talk. Walk your talk. Yeah. Like,
Want to share with us what your values are?
Freedom, trust, authenticity. I'm having a mind blank, but I actually made a little graphic, and I think I sent it to you. Freedom, authenticity, trust, creativity, and curiosity. And I just made it into like a little graphic so I could have it on my phone, so that when I'm sharing on social, or even like down to making decisions and saying yes or no to social events, like in your personal life and your business, I just wanted to have this here so I could always remind myself to always act in alignment with those values. And I was feeling like I was kind of just a little bit off, and it wasn't until I revisited those that I was able to be like, oh yeah, well, that's why. It's because I'm actually not in alignment. And that's where, like, I mean, this is a whole separate piece, but it's like when you feel like you're missing meaning and fulfillment in your life, it's often because you're not aligned with your values, because you're making decisions and you're not coming from your core. You're making decisions based on what other people want you to do or what you think you should do. And so coming back to who you really are can really help you find that purpose and that meaning and that fulfillment. And yeah, I was just feeling a little bit off. And so revisiting that really kind of set me back on the path. What are yours?
Before that, when you were sharing, I mean, obviously, well, not obviously, but we talk a lot. We speak every day. And what I realized as you were sharing, and something that I wanted to celebrate in you, is that in the past, you would have gone straight to, okay, what can I do that helps me feel more in alignment? And you would have gone there. And I feel like this past week in particular, but these past like few weeks, you've allowed yourself to be in the fogginess. Yes, you took the time to like revisit your values, but I didn't notice you going straight to that. Okay, I need to do something that's going to help me feel better. You allowed yourself to stay there, and I wanted to celebrate you for that, because that's really big for you. That's big for anyone. But knowing you, I know that that's particularly important for you.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for saying that. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's part of walking the talk. Is, you know, I talk about this stuff all the time, being with the slowness, being with the stillness. I help my clients be okay with that, and that kind of anti-hustle approach of just slowing down, going against the grain in order to feel more authentic and find more meaning. And so, for, like you said, yeah, I would have previously, old me would have definitely filled my time with the doing. It's the like the doing stuff, because that's kind of what we've been conditioned to think. It's like, oh, okay, well, I feel foggy or I feel stuck, so I must do all of the things. But actually, that's probably not how you're gonna find, or like, you know, get your way through the foggy tunnel. The way through it is just to be with it, and just to allow it to flow. And yeah, it's uncomfortable, and it's unknown, because so many of us don't often do that, because we think that we don't have the time, or we think that, you know, we should be doing all these other things. But who says?
Yeah.
What are your values?
The ones that really come to mind and that are always there for me are love and integrity. They're my big ones, and love's my really big one. Anything that has to do with love, not just romantic love, but truly, like, yeah, coming from a place of love, the love that you show yourself, that you show others, that you know or that you don't know. Because kindness is a big one for me, but it comes from that love. It's not like being nice. It's not about being nice. It's that true kindness. So I guess kindness is another one of them.
Yeah.
And yeah, love's a really big one for me. And I feel like that's a bit more obvious when you look at the name of my offerings, like Heartstorming. The next one that I'm working on that's going to be coming out is Coming Back to Your Heart. It's all about, yeah, that heart space for me. And I guess, like, to share a little bit more about the values is, I find it interesting that a lot of the times working with people, I've noticed that their values are directly related to their core wound, that core, like, being careful with my words here, but that original trauma, like your big story moment, you know. And mine was heartbreak when I was very little.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, everything comes from like that place of a whole heart. So love, kindness, and integrity. Integrity is a big one as well, especially at the moment. And when I think about it, it's always been there. I just didn't notice it or didn't know. But, you know, like working in marketing, there was a lot of the time where I'd be like, well, this doesn't really align with me, you know. Marketing's definitely like based in capitalism. And the way I see it, and the way I used to teach it when I taught marketing, that one random year where I did weird things, like teach yoga and marketing at the same time. But what I used to tell my students about marketing is that ultimately it's creating a need that isn't intrinsically there and then filling it with your product or your service. So it's quite like incestuous, you know, like the bases of marketing are based on psychology. So obviously it's going to play on the mind. And that's why you feel like you suddenly must have this thing, whether it's a product or a service. You know, you have to go dine at that restaurant and you have to have that latest handbag, like that's, or that latest car, like that is the essence of what marketing is. And that never really aligned with me. I never felt like that was in integrity. which is why I worked in hotels. And I feel like I've spoken about this before, but the reason I chose to work in luxury hotels is because you can never make that something that's absolutely necessary. There is no way, you know, no matter how you spin it, a stay in a luxury suite is never going to be a necessity. It's always going to be a luxury, a non-necessity. And that's the way I could do that job that felt in integrity for me. And you might, like, people listening might wonder, like, why did I even do marketing as a career for 10 years if that wasn't in alignment? But there was just something about it that I loved. And yeah, I guess it was like the insights into the human psyche that I was really interested in. That was a weird segue.
But it's also very creative, and it can be, you know, really fun.
Yes. Yeah. And it allows you to do so many different things. And as a manifesting generator, I need to do a million different things. And marketing is a great career for that, because it evolves really quickly, you know, and you do it in so many different ways. Every campaign can be completely different. Every day for 10 years in my career was completely different. Nothing was the same. And I thrived on that. And I evolved into PR as well. So I had that side as well, which was, again, could see more people, do more things. So,
yeah.
And I could do it for a long time in a way that felt in alignment with me until it no longer did. Yeah. So integrity. And lately, the way integrity's shown up is, so I graduated from this maturation coaching course that I did last year in November. And I waited until I was like fully graduated, certified, to market myself as a maturation coach and to call in clients for that work. And so I started working with clients as purely as a maturation coach through December, January. And what that brought up in me was that realization of how deep I want to, I was going to say how deep I want to take people, but that's not the right phrasing. It's how big a space I want to be for people to be able to go deep to their core true selves, to be able to lead people back to their heart, to the core of who they are, to their authentic self, to their true integrity. You've got to be a really big space, a clear space. I say a clear space as in the holding that I give people has to be free of my stuff, you know? And if I want to be able to hold that space for people and have, like, create something that's really clear of me, where I'm just like that channel for them, I've got to really hold space for me. And I have to be conscious of every little thing that comes up for me, and use that training that I've got and that experience that I have of like, oh, this is moving something. I'm going to need to hold space for that. And doing that, running my business, creating this business with you, being part of the mentor training with you, that's a lot of things. I didn't even finish that sentence. Being part of the mentor training with Vienda, that is a lot of things. And I want to do every single one of them with integrity. And so the way that I show up for all of them is with everything that, you know, is moving through me. And what really kept coming through, and I now remember us talking back in January and me being like, I've got to take more responsibility for myself here. And that made me really uncomfortable, because I was like, I already am, you know, like on an outward, like from an outward point of view, I'm an adult, I live by myself, I take care of, you know, like, but emotionally there was that like leveling up that was needed again, like another step up of like, okay, you're going to have big things moving through, you're going to need to hold that. And it was like, it is constantly feeling into what it is that I really need and how do I give that to myself. And it's just, it's a lot, but I wouldn't do it any other way.
Yeah.
Because then what comes into that space is so aligned that it's really super nurturing and exciting. And yeah, you want to be with everything that you call in. Nothing feels, oh yeah, this is nice, but I'd like it to be a little bit different. It's just like, this is perfect. Everything's just bigger and better than I could have ever imagined it to be.
Yeah.
But that self-responsibility has been, yeah, a ride. And it will continue to be. I think it's just one of those, like, it ebbs and flows, you know, like you take more responsibility for yourself, and so more moves through, and so more dissolves, and so more like greatness comes in. And then to be able to keep holding that, you've got to be able to take even deeper care of yourself, like more, you know, and like the cycle just keeps going. And it's, yeah, it's as we often say, it's a ride.
Yeah, what I'm hearing is a couple of things. So where we talked about integrity being a state of wholeness, what you're saying is you're talking about your values, and our values connect together, and our values, you often can't have one without the other. So in the words of Brené Brown, the queen, she often, so courage and vulnerability are two of her values, and so you can't have one without the other. And so what you're talking about, giving yourself what you need, nourishing yourself, you're talking about love. How can you love yourself? How can you show yourself love so that you can act with integrity, so that you can have love for, you know, in other areas of your life. Yeah, I really like that idea of it, just everything's like being really connected.
Emily, you've got to stop.
Stop what?
So I'm just putting this in there. We've got this side joke with that just keeps going, because I'm single at the moment, and I just told Emily, I'm like, she is manifesting a partner for me more than I am. And when you just said you're showing yourself love so you can call it up, I'm just like, let it go.
I wasn't even aware that I was doing it. That was like an unconscious manifestation for you. That is so funny. Yeah, it's happening. To be continued. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
We were talking about this earlier, and realizing that actually, and this is a complete like way tangent, massive, but how having someone, it's almost like you have someone manifesting something for you. Well, I feel like that's what you're doing for me. from a place of complete love, and I know that, and I so appreciate you for that. And I just because I feel like that's the way we should manifest, free from like any need or want, and free from any fears or resistance, you know, because, well, you're calling in a partner for me, so you don't have any of those, whereas I do still. So yeah, it's just really funny.
Yeah, because our manifestation is, you know, based on the universal laws, one being the law of attraction, and which is what you focus on, you get more of. Or like, you know, what you focus on, you then bring attract. You get more of. Attract, yes, thank you. And so consciously you could be focusing on that thing that you want, but subconsciously there's a belief there or a doubt that is energetically blocking you from receiving that. But whether you're aware of that belief or not, you know, the first step is awareness. But even when you are aware, there's the work that needs to be done to release those beliefs, those fears, those doubts, whatever it is that's blocking you. And often when we are manifesting something into our life, whether that is a partner or a new job or a business opportunity, there is fear attached to it, based on conditioning, based on past experiences. So yeah, what we were saying is, how can you approach manifestations as if you were manifesting it for someone else? Because then you don't have that, you're detached from the outcome, and that really is the key of manifestation. So yeah, we really that was like a ding moment for us, wasn't it? We're like, yeah, it's a good way of putting it, actually.
Yeah, so get yourself a hype person that's going to manifest for you, and like consciously bring up for you like how easy it could be to call something in. And we can be that. Just send us a DM us, we'll hype you up, we'll manifest whatever it is that you want into your life.
Yes, I love that. Send us a DM with all of your manifestations, what you're calling in. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, and then we will we'll hold that for you and just call that in. I love that.
Yeah,
we can be your manifesting hype girls. Or manifesting fairies or witches. I mean,
yeah. Back to integrity.
Yes.
I was just thinking that for me, when I was talking about being out of alignment with my values, and even when you asked me what my values were, and the one that I forgot, the one that I just had to check and remind myself, was creativity. And creativity is a really big value of mine, and it always has been, and creativity is such a big part of my life. I believe that we are all creative beings. Life is a creation, manifestation is creation. And as kids, we express ourselves in various forms. Like, we're all artists, we're all creatives, and then as adults we kind of lose that. And I had been feeling out of alignment, particularly with that value, which then kind of makes you out of alignment with because everything's connected. And so one of the things that I have been asking myself is, how can I bring more creativity into my life? Because whenever I'm expressing myself creatively, I'm having fun, I'm experiencing joy, and that's what we all want, right? We want to have fun, we want to have joy in our lives. And I just was like, I just suddenly had a realization, like, when did life get so serious? And why is my day-to-day so serious? And actually, when I look back, in my life and things that I have achieved or brought into my life, it's always been from a place of fun and from a place of creativity. And yeah, so it's kind of been like a journey of bringing that back in, but also then looking at the kind of shadow side of that as well. As like, well, you know, there's a reason why I've not expressed myself creatively recently, and I've not been showing up in that way and aligned with that value. So yeah, it's been a ride.
Yeah, it's what you're working on at the moment, isn't it, that you're creating?
Yeah, I'm creating a group coaching program, really all about that. It's all about becoming the creative director of your life. I just love that, because it's like, yeah, we all have the ability to be the artist or be the creative director of our lives. We can really choose to live our lives how we want to live it. But to do that, to have clarity on your direction and who you are, we need to come back to ourselves. We need to rediscover ourselves, reconnect with ourselves, and then we can redefine our direction so that we can have more meaning, more fulfillment, and more purpose. And yeah, this program speaks to all of that. It's really about connecting with who you are, rediscovering your values and your passions, and then creating your life around that, using creative expression as a tool in various forms. So yeah, I'm really, really excited about it, because creative expression really is, for me, it really ties into like anti-hustle and slow living, because when you're caught up in the hustle, you don't have time for creativity, and that partly was where I was kind of leaning out. I was allowing my ego, my mind, to kind of just tell me what I needed to do or what I thought that I should do, versus really connecting with my intuition and my creativity, and allowing myself to make decisions and create from my authentic core. So yeah, this program is really all about that. And then yeah.
I love it. I love, because I feel like as you've been creating it, you've really been present with everything that has come up for you, and that just makes you an even better person to talk about it and to coach people through it, because you're coming from that place of integrity where you're talking about something that you've truly allowed yourself to properly experience and move through, and then you're supporting other people to do the same. And
yeah, and it's funny, because I remember saying to you, I think, was it last week or a couple of weeks ago, with part of this, everything that's moving through us with integrity and the solar flares and everything in the cosmic world that's going on right now, I just realized that I think I saw a journal prompt on social media that was like, think back to where you were this time in 2020 or 2021, like 2 years ago, basically. And I just had like the biggest realization, because where I was is I had just qualified as a life coach, and I was going off on this journey, creating my business around life coaching and helping people, empowering. I was kind of like calling myself like a life coach and an empowerment coach, and I was helping people really find their purpose. And then somewhere along the way, I just lost touch with that, because I was allowing like the outside noise to kind of get the better of me. But I also found so much purpose and meaning from creating a business. Are you going to say something?
Yeah, because I mean, I've witnessed you over the past 2 years. I was there when you certified as a life coach, because I was a couple of months
we did it together.
Yeah, that's how we met. And when you said somewhere along the line, I lost myself, I was like, I don't see it that way. I think somewhere along the line, you actually realized that you were doing your own business in life coaching the way that you were conditioned that you should run your business. And I feel like you found yourself more. You didn't lose yourself. And it can feel the same way, because there's that not recognizing the identity of who you know yourself to be. But it doesn't mean you lost yourself. It's actually you're coming back to yourself. And it just shows that how far away from your true authentic self you were, that actually as you're coming closer to it, you feel like you're losing yourself, but who you're losing is that other person that was so far away.
Yeah, I like that. Thanks.
Because as we've spoken and as I've witnessed you going through it and seeing how you apply those principles of slowness and creativity, authenticity, and working with your design as a projector in your work, you're being more yourself. You're allowing yourself to be more who you are as you're running your business, creating programs, promoting yourself, all of that. It's so true.
I think because when I first started life coaching, so before that I had a product-based business, a health food business, and that really brought me so much meaning and purpose. And so when I found life coaching, I for sure like felt this is my calling, like this, this is like so what I need to be doing, this is like my purpose. But what I learned with the business before that was that I love creativity. So like, and you're right, it's like I've come back to myself. I've got to know myself through this whole journey, from doing life coaching and then business coaching, and now kind of really coming back to the life coaching. But I'm not necessarily coming back to it. I've just built upon it and using all of the tools, all of the learnings from myself through working with clients and all of that. And now I can use all of that in a completely different way to before. So yes, it's like kind of like a homecoming. But it really feels like I'm becoming whole, bringing it back to integrity. I really, really feel like I'm really living in alignment with all of my values now. Whereas maybe before I wasn't, because I was just figuring it out. And it's a journey, isn't it? It's really a journey.
And you keep refining it. And what feels fully in alignment today might not feel fully in alignment in 6 months' time. And it doesn't mean that you were lying at day dot like now. It's just that you evolve. Like, we've got this concept that we should remain the same, and it's just no, there's just like these layers that shed, and it's not just like a shedding and a healing and then there's this point where you get to and it's all done. It's just like a constant growth, and it goes up and down, and it's it's just a dance, and
and thanks for calling me out on that as well, because it's the language that we use often as well around things. But I think being a business owner as well, like, there is so much noise, and we talk about this all the time. There's so much noise about what you should and shouldn't be doing. And certainly, like, one of the things is like changing direction every 5 minutes. And it's you know, it's not what I'm saying that I'm doing or like anyone else is doing, but it's like when you are acting from a place of authenticity, when you are in integrity with yourself, you're really following you're following what you want to do rather than following what other people you know want you to do or tell you to do. And we just had this chat before about you being a manifesting generator, and you were saying how like you have lots of different things that you're working on and that you always want to be working on, and like there's an unlearning there. And also for me as a projector as well, there's an unlearning of like how I run my business, and both of those aren't what most people online are telling you how to run your business. So yeah, it's such a big trust piece, and trust is one of my values. And so it's that goes into all aspects of life. It's not just trusting other people, it's trusting yourself, it's trusting life.
Yeah, I really feel this big like trust in life piece at the moment, and I can't believe I missed it, but trust is definitely one of my big values. I mean, it's tattooed on my arm. I've got like trust and surrender tattooed down my arms, and recently I feel like I'm experiencing trust at a level I haven't before. I'm trusting life, whereas before my trust was, I trust myself that I can fight for what I want. And if I work hard enough, I'll get what I want. And I trusted my ability to, you know, kind of push and go for it. Today, I trust life. And it's, that feels really good to be able to say and to mean. Like I really do. Like I can see how a year ago, if I was in the situation that I am in today, I would be running, pushing, like trying to get these opportunities to confirm themselves, you know? And whereas now I'm just like, I can feel all of these things that are coming for me, and they're really close. And I trust that they're going to land, but for them to be able to land into my space, what is there for me to do is make my space bigger. And it's not filling my days with things to do. It's being with myself so much more, in so much more integrity, like with that depth, and sitting with any discomfort that moves. And I can't really put words to it. And it's, I can like feel it in the space, in the ether. It's like there and it's coming. And I really trust that what is for me is going to land. But also I'm not just like sitting on my couch watching Netflix waiting for things to happen for me. But what I've realized is that for those things to land, it's not about how much I'm going to do and fight and pull and push and trying to show my worth out there. What these things need to land is that space that I can be. And it's those are the only words that I can use to describe it. And it's definitely not as fancy and marketable and cool as saying, do these 5 steps and you'll have your 5K months in no time, you know. And I almost, like, part of me almost wish it was like that, because then you feel like you've got this sense of control. But if you're truly in that trust, you're in that surrender. Other word on other arm. And yeah, I feel like those are two, trust and surrender go hand in hand to me.
Yeah.
And they are things that you almost, like, I want to say, have the honor of experiencing in your life at different times, at different levels. And at the moment, I'm experiencing both of them at a deeper level than before, than ever before, really. And that feels really special.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just thinking about, so we just recorded moon notes, and one of the things that you were saying is it's asking yourself what you need in right now. What do you need? And if we're thinking in a business sense, if there's something that you're calling in, something that you're manifesting, something that you want to create in your life, but it's not happening, well, first of all, there's a few reasons why that might not be happening. But one of the things is, it goes back down to that, the blocks and the beliefs and the fears. But the block could be something as simple like you don't have the space for it. So it's like, if you're feeling the call to, I don't mean like specifically you, Anna, I mean for anyone, like if you're feeling a pull towards creating more space or creating more time or loving yourself more, or whatever that call is, there's a reason why you're being called to do that. And it's probably related to what you're calling in, because if what you're calling in is so big that you need lots of space, well, it's not going to come if you don't have the space for it. Or, you know, so
yeah, that's really true. But when that comes, I remember a few months ago I told you, oh, there's space that's being created, and part of me could very easily go into freak out, like, space is being when I say space is being created, to be very open, it's clients. I was finishing up with clients, and new clients weren't coming in, and clients weren't renewing because they felt like they got what they needed. And I was observing it, and I remember telling you, ooh, there's space that's being made here, and this is my opportunity to either like freak out and try to fill it with things, or just be with that space and see what's going to land in it. I remember, like, this was back in January, because I remember I was in Paris at the time. And now these opportunities that are like really close, and that I hope so much that they're going to come to fruition and that I'll be able to talk about them. They wouldn't be able to come in because I need a lot of time to be able to do these things. They wouldn't be able to come in had I filled up all my time by trying to like push and pull for new clients or find other opportunities or things like that, you know. And it's that moment where you're like, oh, do I keep doing what I know, or do I just surrender and like lean into the space? This reminds me of the episode where we talked about surrender, and that for you it was like something really peaceful, like leaning back into the water. And I would see it as like jumping off a cliff with like no parachute.
But I've heard people say that recently, by the way, and I was thinking, God, I was listening to sorry, side note, but I was listening to a meditation where she said that, and it brought me out of it, because I was like, that does not feel safe for me, jumping off a cliff. Like, I'm not gonna fly.
Neither.
Like,
It just feels safe for me, as
yeah.
I said. And what I was realizing, like, just now, is that this piece of trust and surrender at the moment does feel like leaning back into the ocean.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I'm a water baby. We know this. I live by the sea. And you know what I've been doing recently is spending a whole lot of time by the sea.
Yes.
I went for one swim, but it's still a bit too cold for that. But I've been spending my weekends at the beach, just like laying in the sun, watching the sea. And like, that felt really nurturing for me. And yeah, I guess what I really needed was a whole lot of love for me.
Yeah.
And time in nature.
Yeah.
Because time in nature is a deep holding. That's what it feels like. You know, nature's got this mothering energy. And if you recline into it, you allow her to hold you. And what I really needed was something much, much bigger than me to hold me.
Yeah. I love that.
That's what I've been leaning into. And what that's been allowing me to come from a place of integrity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so many thoughts, but I'm wondering if they're gonna go off into another episode for
another day.
Yeah.
Well, maybe this is a good place for us to conclude for today.
Yeah.
It almost
just
felt...
one quick thing. I was just thinking, like, what you were saying about how you just felt like really nurtured by being by the sea. For me, like, going off the idea of creativity, creative expression, what felt really supportive and nurturing for me was last week when we had our co-working Zoom session, and we just had each other on Zoom, but on mute, but we could still talk to each other. And then we had music playing, and we were creating content, we were working on our business, but then we were dancing, and we were just listening to our own music. And I really loved the way that felt really fun and really creative. And I felt like we both created so much good work from that. And also, with that being said, if anyone wants to join a co-working session with us, where we'll just open up a Zoom link, and we can just be there for each other. For us, we found it really great to keep each other accountable and on track and focused, and we can have a little dance party while we're working. So send us a DM.
Disco vibes. I mean, we all the invitations. So basically, your homework is to DM us what you want to manifest, and then add that. I feel like the way I'm visualizing it, because I'm very visual, is like we're holding this big cauldron, and I want to invite everyone to just send us what you want to manifest, and we'll just pop it in, and we'll just like continually be stirring, you know, the magic potion, and just like making it come to life for you, and holding it like energetically for you as well. And then let us know when you want to work with us, and we'll just create a Zoom link. Like, we're not offering like coaching or any of that. It's literally just we invite you into our Zoom link when we co-work together, and you get to see our great dance moves. There's a lot of head bopping, finger clicking, arms in the air, and it's like silent disco.
There's just something about being in each other's energy that it's like that collective motivational energy that really just allows you to be in the zone and create. And
make it just like super fun, because you're there with your friends. And So yeah, thanks for mentioning that. That's really cool.
Cool.
Yeah, well,
thanks everyone.
Thanks for listening, and
Yeah,
we'll see you soon.
see you next week.
Thank you for tuning in to your weekly dose of witchy business.
If you love us as much as we love us, please leave a 5-star review to help us spread the magic.
Thank you again to our sponsor, Plan Her. Please support them the way they support us.
And don't forget to follow the link in the show notes to sign up to our Substack. You can also watch us on YouTube. It's at Witchy Business.
And you can also follow us on Instagram at We Are Witchy Business. Emily is at _Emily Tyson, and I am at Anna.Jordan with an E.